Welcome to 6.3's Math Moment. Today in 6th grade, students learned about composing rectangular prisms with fractional edges. So for our first example, it says find the volume and write the expression. As you can tell, we have a 3D object here, but we're just going to go ahead and do our traditional counting of these to find the different dimensions. So when I look at this shape, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 across the bottom for my length. My height is 1, 2, and then I've got a half, so I'm going to write 2 and a half as a decimal. And then I need to go to my width, which I've got 1, 2. Okay. As we talked about in an earlier lesson, it doesn't matter which order you multiply these in. I like to look for things that are easy to multiply. So the very first thing that I would do, which is a fact family, is I would take my 6 times my 2. I know 6 times 2 is 12. And I'm going to multiply that by 2 and 5/10. Now I'm using the traditional algorithm to solve this again today. If your student uses a different one, that's completely fine. 2 times 5 is 10. And I have 1 times 5, which is 5, plus 1 more is 6. Put my 0 down for my placeholder. And then go ahead and multiply 2 times 2, which is 4. 1 times 2, which is 2. Now I need to go and add those together. 6 plus 4 is 10, plus 1 more, and that's going to make that a 3. Now, as you can see, I've ignored my decimal up until this point, but I need to go ahead and put it back into my number. So I hopped over 1, I'm going to hop over 1, so my answer is 30 in this problem. So here's my expression, and then here is my answer. And if it doesn't give a unit, you can just call it units, and then you could call it cubed because we're working with volume. All right, for example 2, it says find the volume of this shape. We have 3 numbers here. We know with volume, we're just going to take the length times the width times the height. So I'm going to go ahead and write down the formula for this one. I'm going to take 2 and 2/10 times 8 times 5. And notice in the problem that it has 5 and 0/10 and 8 and 0/10. Students might know that this is just the same as 8, this is just the same as 5. If they'd like to write down it strictly the way it's written, that's up to them. So again, I'm going to look for facts that I know that makes it faster for me. I know 5 times 8 as whole numbers is 40. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 40 times my 2 and 2/10. When I take 40 times 2 and 2/10, I'm just going to simply solve using the traditional algorithm. 0 times 2 is 0, 4 times 2 is 8. Put my 0 down. 0 times 2 is 0. 4 times 2 is 8. When I add these together, I get my 880. I need to put my decimal in there, so I'm going to hop it over 1, hop it over 1, and then I've got 88. I need to go back to my units, and I need to notice that it's miles, MI, and then again I'm working with volume, so it's going to be cubed. So for a final answer of 88. If you have any questions about today's math lesson, make sure you see your math teacher.